to lesson 4, strength training and shaping the body. And guys, this is probably the most important lesson over the next 16 weeks that you will need to do to understand the foundation of building your shape and maintaining it long term. So looking forward to getting stuck in. Before we get started though, as usual, I just want to do a quick sound check. So if you can hear me, type in yes into the comment box, and hopefully if you can't, you're typing in no, and the support team will help you out, okay? That's always the aim of this. That's why I do the sound check all the time. So let's have a quick recap on lesson 3. We looked at understanding weight loss and weight gain, and hopefully from what we covered, obesity and the food revolution, understanding energy balance and measuring the body, you got the importance of your nutrition, you got the importance of actually finding a balance between your nutrition and your training, and why processed food and added sugar is such a bad idea when it comes to your body shape and long-term health. And you know, if there's anything you didn't really understand on it, go back, watch it again. There's a lot of stuff in there, especially when it comes to understanding energy balance, calorie maintenance, calorie surplus, and calorie deficit. And it's important that we not only understand those terms, but what a healthy and unhealthy calorie deficit, calorie maintenance, and calorie surplus is. Because if we do the wrong one, we're not going to get the results that we want. Now, let's get stuck into the lesson 4 agenda. What we're going to look at today is why we all need to be strong and why we all need to maintain our strength. It's not a case where we need to build strength, it's about maintaining it. We actually build it at a very young age. We're also going to look at how to shape your body properly. So if we have lost strength, if we had lost muscle, what are the common exercises that we need to get good at to build muscle back in those areas? And then we're also going to look at some of the basics of starting strength training. I have a workout circuit for you to do at the end and a bit of a challenge as well. So hopefully you're getting stuck into these challenges. Hopefully you're loving it. Hopefully you're finding those zones where you're enjoying the working out. And today we're going to talk about strength training. So let's talk about the risks of not maintaining our strength long term. Okay, so we build up our strength as children, but what happens if we ignore it, become sedentary, and lose our strength over time? Well, the big one is we'll struggle to maintain our weight as we get older, and we'll struggle to maintain our body shape because we will lose muscle, most likely gain fat, and that's how we end up losing our shape. You may weigh the same, like we saw in that unhealthy calorie maintenance in the last lesson, but because we're losing muscle and building fat, we're going up in clothes size, okay? We're also at risk of some serious postural problems these days in society because of how sedentary we are. So you have a risk of muscle atrophy, which is your muscles wearing away in your back, in your upper back, in your lats, because of how sedentary our lives are, especially with desk jobs. And this leads to back problems, postural problems, osteoporosis, osteopenia, and a number of joint issues. And then over time, your joints will become weaker, at risk of injury as you get older, and really then you're risking your mobility overall. So no one wants to be stuck in a wheelchair at 60 or 70 years old. Personally, I don't want to be stuck in a wheelchair at 90. I still plan to be moving around. If you maintain your strength, then there should be no reason why you can't stay active and healthy. So let's look at that idea that we're designed to move, designed to exercise again from a very young age, because we talked about it in lesson 1 that we are designed to move. But how are we designed to move? Well, as we're babies up to about the age of 4 or 5, we develop our muscular structure, our balance, and our strength and our flexibility absolutely perfect. If you look at a picture of all these, this baby is probably what, no more than maybe 11, 12 months. We got like maybe a two-year-old here, and then maybe a 2-3-year-old here, and you can see the positions of these are perfect. So if you look at this press-up position, we have stable abs, feet together, arms under the shoulders, neutral neck, and that's a serious amount of strength for a 10-month-old. If we look at this squat position in the 2-year-old, absolutely perfect, straight, strong lumbar, tight abs, full hip flexibility. Look, ass to the grass, as we say with squats. feet about shoulder width apart, and perfectly comfortable sitting in this position. So we lose this, but we should all be able to do this. This is basically how we went to the toilet before we invented toilets. And then the Baba here hanging on the bar doing their pull-ups, good activation of the shoulders, and unbelievable strength. Again, this is stuff we lose into our teens, into our 20s. It's not something that we have to build up. It's something we have to build back up if we lose it, because we developed this as children as we grew up. And what happens is at some stage in our life we lose this. But we have to get back to this fundamental level of strength if you want to be able to control our body shape and want to be able to maintain our mobility long term. So let's look at that idea in more detail, and let's talk about strength training now that we see it as an idea of actually being designed to move and not as something in the gym. So strength training is really any exercise which involves the use of resistance, say weights or body weight or resistance bands, to maintain or increase the strength and size of your muscle, and or in simpler terms, any exercise which maintains the strength and shape of your muscles. Okay, so that's what strength training is. It's a squat, it's a press up, it's a pull up, it's the ability to be able to hold a press up position for a while, or someone to sit in your back and you not collapse down. Strength training is anything that trains us to be able to activate and maintain the strength and size of our muscles. Now, we have a lot of myths around strength training, and that's the problem. So guys, give me a few seconds there. Type in a few myths that you hear all the time about strength training. All right, so 5 or 10 seconds, type it in there, see what you think, and we'll get stuck into these now. The biggest one, and I'm sure everyone's typing it in now, is weights will make you look bulky, right? We've been hearing that for years for women. Now, I think this is definitely dissipating a little bit through the media, but it's still something I hear every day with clients. They're convinced if they do strength training, if they build muscle, it's going to make them look bulky. It takes a long time to look bulky, and to look like these guys here, these girls and guys. This woman here, professional bodybuilder, clearly on some form of anabolic steroids, because you can see the development of her shoulders, of her deltoids, of her traps. You wouldn't be able to develop that without performance enhancing drugs, without steroids, because you have to have large amounts of testosterone. That is a male dominant muscular structure. So to develop that in a woman, because you don't have near the amount of testosterone, you would have to take anabolic steroids, which is synthetic testosterone. Same with the guy here. Look at how vascular he is. Look at all these veins. Look at how low his body fat is comparative to the amount of muscle he has. Again, most likely than not, he is on some form of steroids. 90% of the bodybuilding industry are on steroids. There is 10% that are literally genetically superior within the bodybuilding industry. But in the general population, you're talking about 1% of the population would be able to develop muscles like this. 1%. 99% of us would not be able to do it, and most likely that 1% are already professional athletes. They're not walking among us. So the rest of us that are walking our day-to-day lives just cannot develop muscle at this size, at this structure, at this pace. Muscle turns to fat is what I hear all the time. Guys, muscle is one thing, and then fat sits on top of muscle, and we're going to look at that in lesson 5 and lesson 6. It's only for bodybuilders. Ridiculous. Maybe if we're talking about 6 days a week where we split our muscle groups up and do weight training, but strength training is not for bodybuilders. Strength training is for your 6-year-old, your 10-year-old, your 25-year-old, your 40-year-old, your 70-year-old. Strength training is about maintaining the strength of your muscles, maintaining the shape of your muscles, and maintaining your mobility. If you do not do strength training, you will lose it over time. It doesn't burn calories is a big one I hear all the time. In fact, it burns more calories than any cardio you can think of. Because if we strength train properly, we essentially tear the muscle fiber in tiny little thousands of tears called micro tears. And what happens is your body takes 24 to 48 hours to repair that muscle, needing a lot more calories, boosting your metabolism. So you burn more calories from strength training than any other exercise. Lifting light weights is better for women is another one. Now guys, we know that's not true. Think about cardio. When we were talking about programming cardio in the last lesson, and we talked about it has to be beyond your normal levels to make any difference whatsoever. Same as strength training. It has to be challenging above normal to the muscle to have any effect on building your strength. You need a gym for strength training. It's ridiculous. I haven't used the gym for 6 weeks and strength train 3 or 4 times a week, and it's bad for the joints. Again, crazy stuff. So what are the facts? Well, here's some of the facts, guys. It's vital for fat loss, okay? Studies over the last 10 years have shown that you can lose up to 40% more fat with a mix of strength training and cardio than cardio alone. It not only maintains your lean muscle, but also puts the body in a constant state of fat burning with the right nutrition because it needs to repair that muscle. It shapes and tones the body. Guys, strength training is the only way you can shape the body the way you want, okay? The most common results clients ask me for is to lose weight and tone up. What they mean is to lose fat and build muscle in areas they want to shape. That's what they mean. Lose weight and tone up means lose fat and build muscle. So if you understand that from this point on, great. It improves cardiovascular fitness. Most strength training is working your anaerobic energy system, so it's working between your anaerobic and aerobic, helping to improve your cardiovascular fitness and your cardiorespiratory fitness. Okay? It improves sports performance in any sport. Now, if we're doing a specific sport, we might do a different type of strength training, and we'll cover a little bit of that today, but in general, strength training will improve our sports performance. Speeds up the metabolism by needing to build muscle, needing to repair muscle, and needing more calories, therefore giving you a faster metabolism. It strengthens the muscles and joints. And we have very, very small muscles, stabilize the muscles around the joints that aren't as fancy or as well known as your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your biceps, that are responsible for stabilizing your joints. If you don't strengthen those areas, then your joints will weaken. So it's very much beneficial, and especially with joint problems or joint injuries, it's a big one because they're low impact. So you can build muscle and build strength without any impact to the joint. And boosts energy levels and reduces stress because we know it increases your serotonin and dopamine and reduces your cortisol, just like cardiovascular fitness. So guys, I think if we look at that as some of the facts about strength training, why aren't we all strength training pretty much 3 or 4 times a week is the question, not the opposite, especially because we sit so much, guys. We were designed to do manual labor. Our bodies are designed to move, lift, drag, pull. We looked at it in lesson 1, but we can't do any of that stuff anymore. The fact that you can't even squat is a big sign that your strength is probably not there. All right, so test yourself. Do a few squats or a few press-ups or a few pull-ups, and can you do any? Because that is the minimal requirement that you had when you were a child for your strength. Can you squat? Can you press up? Can you crawl along the ground? Can you move? Because if you can't do these things easily, well then you've definitely had your strength diminished by 50, 60, 70% maybe compared to when you were a child. So let's look at some strength training terminology, guys. We're going to cover a lot of strength training today in some of the lessons in Module 1. And then when we get into Module 2, when we talk about advanced exercise programming and energy systems, then you need to be familiar with these terms. So let's go through some of the common strength training terms that we're going to use from now on as fitness professionals or as fitness enthusiasts, one or the other. So when it comes to strength training, guys, what is strength training? Well, strength training is a broad term for all forms of weight training or strength training or anything, any strengthening exercise for the muscles, okay? It's a broad term. So when we talk about strength training, we could talk about the gym, circuits, martial arts, whatever it may be, that's strength training, okay? When we talk about a repetition is one single lift of an exercise or performing an exercise once. So if you do one squat or one press up or one pull up, that is a repetition. A set is a group of reps. So if I did 3 sets of 8 reps of press-ups, I would do 8 press-ups, rest, then do 8 press-ups, rest, then do 8 press-ups and rest, and there'll be 3 sets of press-ups, 8 reps each. Okay? Muscular failure. Muscular failure. So what's muscular failure? Muscular failure, a lot of people think, is when you completely fail, but it's not. Muscular failure is where you can no longer complete the exercise in perfect form. Okay, and that's what we're looking for towards the end of every set of every exercise we do when it comes to strength training. So if we're squatting, or if we're doing press-ups, or pull-ups, or bench press, or shoulder press, what we're looking for on that 8, 9, 10 is really starting to struggle and really getting towards the inability of performing that exercise with perfect form. The minute we lose our form, we stop the exercise on that rep. We're not looking to completely fail, we're looking to completely fail in perfect form, okay? Compound exercise, 2 or more joints involved in performing an exercise, okay? And a number of different muscle groups. And an isolation exercise is only 1 joint involved in performing the exercise, and generally 1 or 2 muscle groups, okay? So really compound exercises, bigger exercises, isolation exercises, smaller exercises. So a compound exercise, squat, isolation exercise, a bicep curl. Yeah? Perfect. All right. So, now that we understand strength training terminology and the basics, let's talk about actually doing it. Okay? We're going to talk about hypertrophy. Now, this is how we build shape. This is how we build muscle the fastest. So, if we want to lose fat and build shape very quickly, and when I say quickly, I'm talking 6 to 9 months. I'm not talking 3 to 4 weeks. It will take you 6 to 9 months to put on minimal amounts of muscle to shape your body differently. Okay? So in 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, your body's only adjusting to even activating the muscle properly, up to 80-90% of the actual muscle. When you start strength training at first, your body's probably only activating 30% of your muscle fiber. So you're talking, if the quickest you're going to build minimal amounts of muscle, somewhere between 6 and 9 months, okay? Now, we're going to do it through hypertrophy training. What's hypertrophy training? It's specifically strengthening exercises between 8 and 12 reps, okay? Between 8 and 12 reps, okay? The sets are 12 to 16 sets per muscle group, okay? So if we're wanting to strengthen and shape a muscle group, let's say our legs, then we're going to do 12 to 16 sets per muscle group per workout, okay? So if we're doing 1 leg workout a week, we're doing 12 to 16 sets of leg exercises, and each set is going to have 8 to 12 reps, all right? So guys, once we know the sets and the reps, then we just decide on the amount of exercises we're doing. So let's say we're doing a leg workout and we decide to do leg press, squats, and lunges. That's 3 exercises, and we need to do 12 sets. So we're going to do 4 sets per exercise. 4 sets of leg press, 4 sets of squats, and 4 sets of lunges. Simple, right? So you just do your sets, move on to the next exercise, and then you've completed your workout in total. That is how you build a workout very simply, but we're going to look at that properly later on in the lesson in a circuit, and we're also going to look at advanced programming around all of these things in Module 2, okay? Your rest time between sets is 1 minute. So let's say we're doing 4 sets of leg press. We're going to do 8 reps per set. So we do the first set, we do 8 reps to failure. Then we're going to rest for 1 minute. The next set, rest for 1 minute. The next set, rest for 1 minute. The next set, rest for 1 minute. And the last set. So if it's taking us maybe 30 seconds to complete our 8 to 10 reps, and we're resting for 1 minute, what are we talking about there? 6 minutes to complete. So about 6 minutes to complete all our sets. Then we rest in between them until the next exercise. So the workout in total will probably take us somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes. Yeah? So that's how we break it down. Exercises will be a mixture of compound and isolation exercise with hypertrophy. We can do lots of compound, but we can also do isolation exercises like bicep curls and tricep extensions. Recovery is 48 hours per muscle group, and the energy system is aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic in your recovery, anaerobic when you're performing the exercise. Why anaerobic? Because it will be 30 seconds to 3 minutes work. You won't be able to do more than 3 minutes of an exercise, and we're working in a 30-second period to failure, so it's anaerobic. All right? Make sense? Perfect. So let's go over some of the common exercises that we can use before we do any isolation exercises, okay? First of all, we need to build some basic strength. So to build basic strength, we are going to use 4 of the most basic exercises that we have. That's the squat, the bench press, the overhead press, and the deadlift, okay? So if we look at the squat at first, what is the squat? It's a compound exercise. Why is it a compound exercise? 1, because it has 2 joints involved. It has your knees, and it has your hips, and actually the ankles a little bit as well. So really 3 joints are involved, okay? Then the muscles you're working your quadriceps, which is the front of the thighs, your gluteals or your gluteus maximus, which is your bum, and your gastrocnemius, your calves, which is the back of your leg here. Okay, so they're the muscles you're working. The secondary muscles are also your abdominals, so you're working your legs, your bum, and your abs in this exercise. Okay, the equipment is either body weight or weighted. The beginner version is a box squat, and the machine version is a leg press. So if we look at some of the technique here, and we'll go through this. First of all, we have a simple body weight squat, so pushing the bum back, driving through the heels. So at the bottom, again, like we see in the baby picture at the start and myself here, nice stable lumbar, tight abs, hips in full range of motion if you can get it. If you can't, squatting to there is fine. Okay, that's no problem whatsoever, but you want to be able to eventually get down, full range of motion, and then driving up all the way, full extension to the top, tight abs, squeeze the bum at the top. So we're pushing our bum back, pushing through the heels on the way back up, nice and slow, nice and steady, 1, 2, and then driving up, about 2 seconds on the way down, and that's what we're looking for, working the quads, the glutes, the abs mainly. Okay, so that is your basic technique. If this is even too hard for you, you're going to pull a chair over and you're going to do a box squat. If you think about this, this is very similar to sitting down and standing up. Push your bum back to sit down, push through your heels to stand up. So that is your basic form of the exercise. If you can't do a bodyweight squat, then do a box squat. Okay, push your bum back to sit down, stand straight back up. All right. That's the most basic version of the exercise. And work through it. Do your box squat, do your body weight squat, then weight the squat, and so on. Okay? Next up, we have the bench press. Okay? Now, if we look at the bench press, a lot of women say to me, well, should I bench press? Of course you should bench press. Okay, everyone should bench press. Or whether we're doing press-ups or dumbbell press or barbell press, we have to work the chest, the shoulders, the triceps in some way. So if we're in the gym, we can use the bench press. If we're at home, we can do the press up and build that up in a few different forms. But essentially, what you're looking at is it's another compound exercise. Okay? So again, elbows, shoulders involved. So 2 joints, muscles, chest, which are pectoralis muscles, anterior deltoids, which is the front of the shoulders. And then, of course, the secondary muscles, back of the arms, the triceps, the back of the upper arms, the triceps, which are here, okay, or the bingo wings as the women call them, as they lose their tricep muscles as they get older, because they don't do any pressing or any form of upper body training, and they can lose shape there. So you want to keep the shape in the arms, keep the shape in the shoulders, and keep your muscle there. When you lose muscle, that's when you lose shape, okay? The equipment, bench or barbell, or there are a number of chest press machines in gyms, but you can also do bodyweight versions like press-ups and weighted press-ups, okay? So if we look at the technique of the bench press, okay? So your grip is going to be about shoulder width apart, maybe slightly outside, a nice tight grip. Once you have a tight grip, you're going to lift it off and over the chest, and you're going to pause there for a second until you're stable. Okay, so you're not going to start pressing straight away, you're going to pause. Make sure you have a stable grip. Make sure it's right over the chest, so almost pretty much over the nipples, the sternum, so even just below the nipples. A lot of people hold it too high in the chest towards their neck. You want to hold it right over the chest, okay? And then you're going to slowly lower once you have a stable position. So if we look at how long I held that for, I was holding that for a couple of seconds until I got a stable position. Flat feet, you can raise your feet up if you need to as well. You're going to lower slowly and all the way down to tip the chest. Okay, so if you're not tipping your chest here, then you're not full range of motion. So many people bench press halfway, all the way down, tip the chest, abs tight, and then you're going to press straight back up, okay, to nearly a full extension. You can see my elbows are slightly bent. They're not fully extended. I'm not locking out completely because I want to keep the activation of my triceps and my chest. Okay, so again, slowly back down, tip, and then driving straight back up, not full lockout. So if we look at that from the start, if I play it from the start in real time, over the chest, pause, all the way down, pushing straight up. I'm breathing in on the way down and breathing out as I press up. So you can see, look at the back of my arms. You can see those triceps activating at the top. You can see the shape of the muscles. You can see I'm tipping the chest each time, not bouncing off it, just tipping, and then nice and controlled, pressing all the way up. So that is your bench press. You can also do a bodyweight version press up if you can use the right progression, which we will cover in module 2. But I'm just covering some of the basic foundation strength exercises that we would do in the gym to rebuild strength back up. The next one is the shoulder press, guys. So if we look at this again, a compound exercise. Why? Shoulders, elbows, they're the joints involved. The main muscles, guys. The main muscles involved are the deltoids, which are the shoulders, and the triceps, which are the back of the arm. So we've got the front, the middle, and the back of the shoulders. We're activating most of them. And then, of course, the back of the arms, the triceps, which we were working in the bench press. Any pressing motion, guys, and we're generally working the shoulders and the triceps, depending where we're pressing over. If we're pressing over the chest, we're working more of the chest. If we're pressing overhead, we're working more of the shoulders, okay? We're building shape where? With the shoulder press, the shoulders and the triceps. If we're doing a standing shoulder press, we're using the abs and the glutes to stabilize. So the abs tense the stomach and the glutes squeeze the bum, okay? Beginner version, there is no real beginner version, just lighter weights with the shoulder press. Machine version, we have a shoulder press machine version which stabilizes you if you're not good enough or stable enough to use free weights quite yet, okay? Now let's look at a couple of different variations of the shoulder press. Sarah here, she is doing seated shoulder press, so lifts it nice and safely off. Now I'm just going to pause here for a second and we'll see. Feet together, knees together, nice and steady, abs tight. She's not sitting right up back. We are using some of the abs to stabilize. We're going to press straight overhead nice and slow. So if I take it speed-wise, pressing straight up overhead, and then slowly back down to the start position, just over the shoulders. So each time, if we take that in full from the bottom to the top, okay? We can also find we can do a standing shoulder press, and if you don't have weights at home, you can even do this with a bag. So just get a heavy bag, fill it load of books. Standing, you're going to squeeze the bum as you press overhead, and then you're going to slowly back down, get the head out of the way. So as you press overhead, see the way I'm pushing my head through my arms, like I'm pushing my head through a window to activate the shoulders, and then bring my head back down as I do that. So in real time, we'll do seated shoulder press, so grabbing it, abs tight, pressing straight overhead, and then slowly back down to the start position. And we're repeating this for 8 to 10 reps. And again, nice and steady, nice and slow. You're not trying to rush through it. You're trying to activate the muscles. You're really concentrating on the shoulders. You're picking one point to look at. Sarah's looking at one point in the wall there, and just really feeling the shoulders working, okay? Same with the standing shoulder press, pressing straight up, popping my head through, concentrating and looking at one point. Breathing out as I press up, breathing in as I lower the bag back down. So very much about concentration when it comes to a strength exercise. So many people don't even think of the muscle they're working. You have to think, if you're doing a press, you have to think of your shoulders. Concentrate on feeling your shoulders actually activate and feeling the back of your arms activate. If you're doing a squat from just the previous slide, when you're pushing your bum back and pushing through the heels, are you feeling your thighs working? Are you pushing your knees out, pushing up through the heels, really feeling your thighs working, really feeling your abs contracting? And then if we do something like a deadlift here, we're going to go through, are we feeling the back of the legs, the bum, and the lower work? So the deadlift is a compound exercise. Okay, it's a compound exercise. Again, why? Knees, hips, ankles. Okay, 3 joints. Main muscles. The gluteals, the bum, the gluteus maximus and minimus, the hamstrings, back of the legs here, and then the erector spinae, which is a muscle that runs up along your spine from your lower back, protecting your vertebra. Okay, very important to keep that strong. What we're seeing these days is the atrophy of people working desk jobs all day, of their rector spinae, of their mid-traps and their rhomboids, causing serious postural issues and serious back problems. And it's so common these days to see like crazy postural problems compared to 20 years ago that you just wouldn't have seen. And it's for the first time in human history we're seeing like hunchback, atrophy problems back since the dark ages where people had no nutrition and stuff like that. It builds shape in the legs, the bum, the lower back and the abs. So abs again stabilizing. The weights, we can use a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a barbell, a bag. I mean, this is manual handling. This is how we lift anything off the ground. We don't bend, we lift. And this is, again, talking about a baby again. If you get anyone that has kids, get your 2-year-old and drop something on the ground and ask them to pick it up. And if you ask them to pick it up and you look at them, they will do this in perfect form. They will push their bum back, they will keep their back straight and stable, they'll lift it up and they'll push through the heels. We learn to bend over as we get older as a bad habit, but bending over is a dangerous way to lift anything up. This is how we should lift things up, the deadlift, okay? Where did this come from, the deadlift? The name, the deadlift, is a strange name, right? Well, if we actually look at the history of this, back in the Roman army days, when they were conquering the world, a famous Roman general realized that after battle, so many of the soldiers were getting injured and getting back injuries when they were clearing the battlefield of bodies, of their opponents' bodies and of their own dead soldiers, okay? So what they realized was that everyone was lifting wrong, and he originally taught the deadlift position. And that's why it's called the deadlift. It's literally named after lifting the dead off the battlefield. That's why it's called the deadlift. So quite incredible. So that's how we should lift. Beginners like kettlebell or dumbbell, simple as that. And when I say it's how we pick something up, it's how we pick something up every single day, or how we should. If we look at this, shopping bags, barbell, exact same technique. Look at that, bottom and top. Push the bum back, drive through the heels, keep the abs tight. Now what's the difference between this and a squat? This, you're going to push your bum back further to activate more of your back and the back of your legs. With a squat, you don't push your bum back quite as far, so you activate more the front of your legs, the quadriceps, and your gluteals, your bum. Okay? So slightly different. With the deadlift, you push your bum back a little further. With a squat, not as much, so you activate more the front of the, but they're quite similar exercises. Okay? Everyone thinks this is a dangerous exercise. You just start with a light weight, guys. Get a very light dumbbell. Push the bum back. Okay? Keep the shoulders rolled back. Nice straight back. Chest up nice and high, facing forward. And then stand up fully. Squeeze the bum. Don't lean back and stand upright at the top. Start with a very, very light weight. You don't have to start with very complicated, heavy weights. Everyone, again, when it comes to fitness, and it baffles me, when people start fitness, they expect to get good in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks. If I told you to learn the guitar or learn the piano in 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, you would laugh at me. You would tell me that's impossible. That, there's so much involved in learning it when it comes to getting used to the chord shapes and practicing and getting your body used to it, that it's going to take you months. Fitness is identical. Fitness is more complicated because you have energy systems. You have lots of different muscle groups. You have so many different types of ways of training your muscle groups and your energy systems that learning an instrument is easy compared to training your body. Now, it's very, very enjoyable to exercise and train, but you have to take it at your own pace. Start at the level you're at. If you can't squat right now, then you do a box squat. Okay? Simple as that. If you can't do a bench press, you go to the gym and you do the machine bench press, or you start with press-ups. Okay? It's very, very simple. But you have to start from the level you're at and build up from there. And don't be in a rush, because, you can't rush learning an instrument. You can't rush learning a skill. You can't rush getting fit. You're going to go whatever pace your body will let you go at and develop. All right? So let's talk about that, and let's talk about programming workouts, and let's talk about how to enjoy our workouts by programming properly. Okay? Now, guys, I'm going to say this, and this is a very honest thing. And, as fitness professionals or as fitness enthusiasts, I will say this. if you can't commit 30% of your day, which is 2% of your day, to your own health and fitness, or if you can't get your clients or convince your clients to follow 30 minutes of fitness a day, 4 to 5 times per week, it is either not one of their priorities or it's not one of your priorities, and you haven't convinced them otherwise, okay? If you're not exercising 30 minutes per day, why would you get fit? I'll bring you back to learning an instrument. If you don't practice an instrument 30 minutes per day, 4 or 5 times per week, you're never going to get good. And even if you practice an instrument 3 or 4 times a week, 30 minutes per day, it takes months. So if you can't commit 30 minutes of your day to improving your health and fitness, or you can't convince your clients to do it, it is simply not one of your priorities. So have a serious think about that. And if I'm committing 30 minutes a day to something, I want to enjoy it, and this is why I want to make sure I enjoy my workouts. So here's where we concentrate in enjoying our workouts. Let's talk about circuit training. Circuit training is probably one of my favorite ways to start off a client training, because strength training using straight sets or gym-based exercises can be very boring starting off. It's also sometimes confusing because even when you're doing the exercises, someone starting off can't really feel the proper muscles working yet. They haven't learned to really connect their mind to their muscle and actually activate the muscle properly. But with circuit training, we can actually learn our own pace and do it at our own pace. So what is circuit training? Circuit training is pairing 2 or more exercises together and only resting as needed after you've completed 1 round. Okay? Now, what is the benefit of using circuit training? What do you think, guys? What's the benefit? Type in, get a conversation going with support, guys, if you haven't already. And type in the benefits, what you think are of circuit training over going to the gym for an hour and we're doing 1 exercise for 5 minutes and then another exercise for 5 minutes and then another exercise for 5 minutes. What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of, say, taking 3 or 4 exercises and doing 5 rounds in a circuit as opposed to going to the gym and doing that? What do you think, guys? So the first one is, it's an extremely efficient use of time. If we take 3 exercises and we're doing 5 rounds and only resting after each exercise, to do the same thing in the gym or in straight sets, we'd have to take the 5 exercises and rest after each set and then rest after each exercise. It's going to take us like 3 or 4 times longer. So in a circuit, we can actually get in a lot more work. We can create a large amount of work in a smaller amount of time compared to, let's say, if we did a standard hypertrophy session in the gym with straight sets. All right? It's also great cardiovascular and strength improvements together. Okay? If we're doing straight sets in the gym, and this is what I mean by we can get aerobic and anaerobic and cardiovascular improvements with our strength training if we do some form of circuit training or high intense strength training. But if we're doing straight sets, we're really not getting that benefit. So if we're doing circuit training, the advantage is it allows us to improve our fitness, our strength, our energy levels, and speeds up our metabolism and shapes the body all at the same time. It also means that if you're stuck for time and you can't get to the gym because you have to get to the gym for 10 or 15 minutes and then get ready and then do your 20-minute workout and then shower and then get home, that's taking an hour and 10 minutes. We can do a circuit training session at home in 20 minutes. In 20 minutes. So here's my lesson 4 challenge for you. Okay? Just to show you how simple it is to do circuit training on your own at home. I want you to complete anywhere from 4 rounds to 8 rounds of the following circuit. Take whatever squat you can do, whether it be a box squat, a bodyweight squat, a weighted squat, whatever you can already do. If you can't do anything, do a box squat. Just sit down and stand up. Yeah? Okay? Second exercise I want you to do is do a press up. Okay? So do a press up. I'll put up the press up variations into the bonus video section. So if you're not sure of how to do any of them, they will be all there in your bonus video section. All right? I also want you to do shoulder press. Again, I'll put up all the variations in the bonus video section if you're not sure how to do one. And I want you to rest as long as you need until you can go back into the next round. Okay? So I want you to complete 4 to 8 rounds. Rest is needed in between rounds. If you only need 30 seconds rest, take only 30 seconds rest. If you need a minute, take a minute. If you need 2 minutes, take 2 minutes, but that's the max rest. But what you're going to do is you're going to perform 10 bodyweight squats, then take your time transitioning to the next exercise. So get yourself ready for a press up and then do 10 press ups, and then transition to your shoulder press and then do 10 shoulder press. Rest is needed and complete 4 for beginners and up to 8 rounds if you're intermediate or advanced. And pick the variations for you that are most suitable. So if the bodyweight squat for 10 reps is too easy, do a weighted squat. If the press up is too easy, do a 30 or 40 or 50 kilo bench press. Yeah? And with the shoulder press, pick the right weight. So it has to be challenging. That 8, 9, 10 rep range has to be challenging. We have to be close to muscular failure. Yeah? And here's the training tips for that workout. Perform each exercise with perfect form. Okay? There's no rushing through the exercises. Perform each exercise with perfect form. Take your time transitioning from one exercise to the next. It is not a race. Okay? I want you to take your time transitioning from one exercise to the next. You know your body best, so pace yourself. Okay? And this is what I want you to make sure to do. Make sure to enjoy the workout. So challenge yourself, but don't enter that place, the dark place I call it, where you feel nauseous, dizzy, sick, you're just not enjoying it, you want to give up, you hate it, it's too hard. You've tipped in way far when you should have. So take more rest time, reduce the intensity, and get back to the point where it was challenging but enjoyable. Okay? That's what I want you to do with that workout. So put a timer on at the start, and then when you finish the workout, stop it. And what you can do is every time then you could do that workout once a week or once every 2 weeks. And what you'll notice is the fitter and the stronger you get, the shorter it takes you to complete that workout. Because we're not using an exact rest time, you're resting as you need it. And as you get fitter and stronger, you need less rest time. Understand, guys? Perfect. Okay. And then lastly, guys, I want to talk about tracking results. How do we track results in a workout like that? Very, very simple. You choose your weights, you choose your progression, whether it be a squat, a weighted squat, a box squat. You complete the workout and you take note of whether it was easy, medium, or hard. Okay? If it was easy, we're going to increase the intensity. If it was medium, we're probably going to stick with it for the moment and see if it gets easy. If it was very hard, then we might lower the intensity because it might have been too hard and we didn't get through the workout properly. We're going to redo the workout regularly around that medium range, around that medium to hard range, okay? Once we hit the easy range, when you feel it's just getting too easy, you increase your weights or your rounds or the intensity in some way. So that's the most efficient way of tracking your results just when it comes to workouts. It's really, you should be aware of how challenging the workout is, and we'll talk about in Module 2 tracking percentages of the weights that you're using. But in Module 1, I just want you to be aware of, is it easy, medium, or hard? Simple as that. Simple as that. So let's talk about the benefits of strength training to wrap up that lesson, guys. On the left, we have the old school myth, what we think is going to happen when we lift weights, especially when women used to think what was going to happen. That's just anabolic steroids in professional bodybuilding. And what actually happens on the right is we lose fat, we build muscle in the right areas, and we keep a really nice shape in our legs, in our bum, in our thighs, in our arms, in our stomach, everywhere. So it maintains our shape. It gives us a lean, muscular, athletic physique when we get very fit and very strong. Remember, your body shape is directly linked to how fit and how strong you are. Okay? So the benefits of strength training, guys, it speeds up your metabolism. You burn more calories. It strengthens and builds your lean muscle. Again, this one here, look, low fat, high lean muscle mass. This is high lean muscle mass for a woman. This is as much muscle as you're going to be able to build as a woman naturally. This takes steroids. So you could do all the strength training in the world, and this is about as much muscle as you build. Okay? It builds and tones an athletic, lean, toned physique shape. And increases your confidence. It balances your hormone levels, helps reduce stress and boost energy levels. And most importantly, guys, it helps protect your bones, your joints, your back. It fixes postural issues, and it keeps your mobility. Keeps your mobility, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson, guys. The next lesson is lesson 5. We're going to talk about understanding fat loss and body shape. So we're going to look at body fat storage, different types of body fat. We're going to look at factors that affect fat loss, and we're going to look at the truth about getting results long term. I've already been very honest with you about how long it's going to take you to get results, 6 or 9 months. For your fitness professionals out there, tell your clients it's going to take you 6, 9, 12 months. And guys, you want them to believe you straight away because you want to keep them for 6 or 9 or 12 months. Otherwise, you have to refill your client base every 8 weeks. And that's just annoying. You know, a good personal trainer, a good fitness instructor, a good fitness professional will keep their clients for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you won't have to replace them over and over again. All right? So that's what we're going to talk about. So for your bonus, guys, on this one, very simple. I want you to vote on, we talked about hypertrophy today, which is one form of strength training. Now there is maximal strength and also local muscular endurance when it comes to strength training. So do you want me to do a bonus video on what maximal strength is? So like powerlifting and Olympic lifting, or to talk about local muscular strength? Its rep range is 12 to 15 reps and the benefits of that. Okay, so get a vote, get the typing, and let me know, and I'll add it to the end of the lesson in the members area. Your career guidance lesson 4, guys, I'm just going to give you a quick one on the cost of education, because some people, you know, especially you kind of trialers out there, I know a lot of people are full members, but the trial members, guys, if you are looking to get your EQF level 5, as I said, you need all 4 modules. This module 1 is just 25% of it. So if you look at the cost of education worldwide, UK $2,150, USA $4,000, South Africa 17,000 ZAR, Ireland here is anywhere between 750 to 3,000 euro for an EQF level 5, and here at the Shaw Academy, you're getting your EQF level 5, all 4 modules for under 150 euro, or just convert that into your own currency. And that's pretty much what you're getting it for. So more info on the next couple of lessons on final registration for trial members, guys. But yeah, like the cost of education, guys, I talked about investing in education and upskilling yourself. Obviously look at the cost of it, because even when you finish with us, whether it be you know, this 16-week course, or whether you do more than one, always look for the best quality and the best price, because online education these days is going to save you a lot of money compared to the colleges these days. All right, so into the Q&A section, guys, and some of the common strength training questions I get asked. I suppose they're connected to the myths that we get all the time. Will strength weight training make me look bulky? I'll just point you towards the end of that lesson. You're only going to be able to build limited amounts of lean muscle, even in a 12-month period with perfect nutrition. So unless you're genetically perfect and superior, the 1%, you're not going to build much. And if you're already the 1%, you're already probably in great shape. Are lighter weights with higher reps better for toning up? So this is a strange question I get all the time. No. So toning up, what's toning up again? We're losing fat and building shape, so we're building muscle. Toning up, so let's say we want to get better shaped legs. So we find that our legs have gone too skinny, so we want to tone up. All right? You need to build the muscle in your quads, your hamstrings, and your bum. Okay? Now, higher reps is not challenging the muscle very much. If we're doing 15 to 20 reps and we're not reaching failure, so we need to use the hypertrophy rep range. 8 to 12, 10 is my personal favorite. Once we're reaching muscular failure, 10 is the ideal number to, I suppose, build muscle. Now, some people will do better with lower reps, some people do better with higher, but in general, 10 is the magic number starting off, and 6 to 9 months down the line when you're more experienced, you can decide what you respond to better. All right? What is the best rep range for building muscle fast? Same as the last question, 10 reps. 10 rep range is my personal favorite, especially beginning, okay? Can I weight train with back and joint problems? Yes, you just have to be very careful, and there's certain exercises that aren't suitable. So obviously get professional advice from a trainer, or email me, or whatever it may be, okay? But yes, it's very safe to train with back and joint problems because very low impact, so we can concentrate on building strength in areas that will actually alleviate some of that back pain and joint pain, okay? Another great one for back and joint problems is rowing, once your back problems aren't a number of different vertebral or bulging disc problems. Another common question, how often should I weight train to optimize fat loss? And this is the last one I get when it comes to strength training. It's probably the most common. You should train, like personally I think 3 times a week for most people is ideal. 2 times a week is great, but if you can get 3 strength training sessions in per week, whether you're going to do 3 full body workouts or upper, lower, upper, and alternate that the next week to lower, upper, lower, and so on. We're going to talk more about specific strength training programming and in advanced exercise programming in Module 2. But yeah, 3 times a week I think is ideal. And then if you're doing 3 to 4 maybe HIIT sessions or cardio sessions, really what you're doing is maybe 4 30-minute workouts. And 20 minutes of the workout is your strength training and 10 minutes of the workout is your HIIT training. So a 30-minute workout 4 times a week. You can mix both your strength and your HIIT and you cover it off. Perfect. And we'll talk more about that in the next few lessons. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I hope you understood it. Any questions, throw some emails over to me. But we will cover a lot more of this in detail, not just in the next few lessons, but also in advanced exercise programming in Module 2. There's only time to do an overview in Module 1. But Module 2 is all about advanced exercise programming, and that's when we cover all of the details of how to train each energy system when it comes to aerobic, anaerobic, and ATP PC. But until next time, guys, until lesson 5.